Hello and welcome to another Nimble video tutorial. So it's 11:05 p.m. I was doing some minor testing with Nimble, checking a few things out, and I just started to think about some of the old projects that I worked on and things that I've built with Nimble years ago, some of the sample apps that are on my website. And I looked at some of the builds, they date back to 2010, 2014. And then I thought about an old project, not one that I created, called Polymer Designer. And it was supposedly, I believe, support for Angular, and it was a drag drop interface or framework, very, in the same lines of a rapid prototyping framework as Nimble. And I looked it up on the web, and it seems to have changed dramatically. This web designer or drag drop interface no longer exists, but there's a pretty cool couple of videos that if you are interested in seeing it, you can check them out online or check them out on YouTube. It's amazing how applications evolve or stop evolving over the years, and Nimble continues to push forward in a better direction the more I work on it. As I said, it uses a builder design pattern. It is designed to do just that. Continue to add and build pieces on it to make it better, remove pieces and not destroy the entire foundation. So it's positioned to continue to grow and improve. That being said, since last year, I've migrated the entire platform to JavaScript and Electron. And the cool part about that is while I was migrating the code, it wasn't just a pure migration. I've added a considerable amount of features and things that version 5 can do that we can't do in version 4. I mean, there are no virtual desktops in version 4. You literally program and code on your desktop and use a very VB native code type interface to get things done. That being said, I'm going to show you one of the most powerful features within Nimble. The ability to bind data from any web service to a Nimble UI. So we're going to start with, of course, a blank dialog. I've created this interface before in version 4.0, but now that we're using version 5, it's only fair that I run out an official test and show you guys. So this Nimble is about putting all the pieces of a full-scale application right at your fingertips. And the REST service tab allows you to hit an endpoint, any REST endpoints that returns a JSON contract, and bind that data in the proper format or the format that it comes from the service right to a UI. We are using, when you first start Nimble, it's set up with a default URL to random user me. I think it's version 0.4. I'm going to use the latest version, which is 1.2. When you hit send on this web service, you will see the return response from their service. Random user me is not a service or site that I own or manage or support. Some other team has created it and made it free for people who want to test Ajax commands and playing around with that type of service. So I use it just as an example, and it really makes for nice example videos and how-to videos. Once we hit the service, we can bring in and bind any of the items in their data contract to a UI item. So we're going to select the text box and bring in the name object, all 3 fields, into the text box. We'll also grab the location object. And they have enhanced their service to include not just the locations, street, city, and state. They have coordinates and time zone now. That's new. I haven't seen that in their contract. Last but not least, we're going to change it to the image element and bind it to the profile picture in their web service. We can resize this picture, of course, and maybe change this caption. once all the elements for the contract that you want to use or display is bound to the UI, we're going to need a trigger or something to actually pull the data in. So we're going to add a button. This is going to be called the get button. It's going to be labeled get so that when we click it, it will, of course, call to the service, bring down the contract, and push that data to the UI. We'll make sure we dock the lower right corner of the button. And last but not least, we need the actual Ajax snippet. Within this REST tab, there's a create snippet button, and it will give you the Ajax call needed to get the data from the service. And then we'll put that under the button click event. Once we perform this Ajax call to random user me 1.2, on the success, we're going to take the response and push that response to the app model of the dialog that triggered it. That's pretty much all it takes. So we will close the dialog and save it. We'll press F5 so we can build this project. We will need to turn on the model view model service in Nimble. And last but not least, I've added a new feature to start this build after you've built the app. It'll start the app on desktop too. That will prevent or kind of remove the need from having to use a browser within your app. You can now test it directly in Nimble. We'll click build. A few seconds later, it's done. It'll launch the app on the virtual desktop preview mode. When we click the icon, you see the UI that we just created already set to grab data from the random user me web service. When we click get, as you can see, we pull in full name, contract, profile, picture, time zone, and coordinates. We can continue to click get, and of course, get more user profiles instantly. The dynamic sizing is automatically turned on when you use the REST contract builder, so things will scale perfectly, and of course the ability to minimize is still there too. Just a nice look at how easily it is to bind web services to a UI with little to no coding from the developer. Nimble version 5 coming along nicely. I'm going to do a video in the future talking about the new features I've added from version 4 to version 5, like a simple comparison, so that we can so I can just document along the way how many new features I've added while I converted this project. Nimble version 5. Enjoy your weekend. Thank you for watching.